that little boy, Timmy.
Favorite.
They'll be back. They do come back usually, but what happens if one day they leave and never come back again? Just
Oh,
like
I get it.
Daddy.
So yeah.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Rawhide Radio. We've got sort of a different style of video today. We are joined, as usual, by Manny and Sean. How are we, guys? How's everyone doing? Manny?
Tired. Played some weird anime.
Yeah, doing all right.
Nice.
Hanging in there.
So, as I'm sure you already know from the title and thumbnail of the video, we are reviewing the hottest new game out there right now, Genshin Impact, the game everyone's playing.
The first thing I heard about this game was that, oh, you'd like it. There's a flying baby in it, which
And I was right. That's Manny's favorite character.
it is my favorite character. It's well predicted.
You've got different characters you play as. Each of them have a different spell type, spell ability. You go around questing, completing world objectives.
It uses party teams, so it's kind of almost you choose your favorite characters. It's not like Pokemon, but for people who haven't played many RPGs, it's choose the ones you like. That's your team. Level them up.
It almost reminds me of the style. I'm just thinking of this now. It sort of reminds me of the style of the Shrek 2 GameCube game.
Well, it's Shrek, a famous on GameCube, a famous JRPG. So, yeah, so JRPG is like Japanese style RPGs, and it's different than normal RPGs just in kind of game style. It's kind of a little bit hard to get into what specifically where the line is drawn, but this is firmly in the JRPG category, so it's not something like an Elder Scrolls. It's something more like a Kingdom Hearts.
Kyrie's inside me?
So this game, like, even though I'm calling it that, it's actually from China, so it's not actually Japanese.
Before I started playing it, I already thought it looked amazing because it's an anime RPG adventure game. Everything right up my alley.
So I was a little bit hesitant with this game for a few reasons. One, I feel like free-to-play and anime aesthetic was very... I don't know, that didn't sound like a winning combination to me. That sounded like, oh, we know how to get free downloads. We'll put waifus in it. But actually, it delivered on real gameplay, and surprisingly, the characters are also really good. We were talking about the flying baby, that's Paimon, and I actually like the character of Paimon. Like, I want to, like, actually play as these characters. So it seemed a little almost, I don't want to say clickbaity. That was my originally what I thought it was going to be, but it's really not that at all. It actually really delivered for me.
I had seen trailers for the game months ago, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And like that was when I was a big fan of Breath of the Wild, and there were all the comparisons to the Breath of the Wild art style. And then I heard it was free to play, and I immediately was like, I don't know now. That sounds kind of iffy. But yeah, having played it for the first time, I think it plays pretty well so far. The game looks fantastic. The music style is very similar to Breath of the Wild, like kind of lighter background piano music type stuff.
I really like the combat. I thought it was pretty easy to figure out. I like that it's not just going around with a sword and shooting random spells. Like, you actually have to know what different spells do together, what types of enemies are immune to certain types of spells. I think the combat looks really cool. It feels really fun when you do it. Even just like the beginning wind blade that your main character does, even that, like, doesn't, at least so far, as much as I've played, it hasn't gotten old. Like, it's still satisfying. It's still fun to watch. It's still fun to do. I haven't seen any way that each specific character changes their combat style. I don't know if that's a thing, so there's a possibility it's going to get stale. But it's just so fun to watch, and it's fun to do. I don't see that being an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I like the switching between different characters. I'm only at the point that I have two characters, but even just switching between them and like I've done one temple and I've had to switch between them to do different tasks within the temple, which is pretty cool. And I'm sure as you add in a more diverse set of characters, those type things can get expanded even more. And it's not like at least overwhelmingly difficult at first. Like everything I've done so far, I've been able to pretty easily manage trying out different things in combat, figuring out what works without really ever being at risk of dying or anything like that.
I want to start fights in this game, and I think that's a good sign for combat because I feel like my go-to is just like to run from fights after playing a game for an hour, and I was not doing that in this.
There's some games where like I intentionally would just try and sprint past enemies so I don't feel like engaging them. It's just going to be a waste of time and it's tedious. But yeah, this game, it's the combat's so much fun. Like I almost wish there were more enemies crawling around. They're kind of like they're kind of sparse just out in the
That's a good
open, but
point.
it's not like I don't know. You don't want it to be annoying to travel around either, where you're
Right.
just constantly being overwhelmed with stuff.
Yeah,
The sprint mechanic when you first start sprinting and you like do a little dash, I found it really easy and really intuitive to incorporate that into combat. So like right when you're about to get hit with something, I thought it was like really like intuitive to just do that and dash out of the way, regain yourself, regain some your orientation and like get back into it.
So much of it is like Breath of the Wild, which I don't think isn't necessarily a bad thing that they've borrowed so much of that, because so many of these mechanics that were in Breath of the Wild were great and considered pretty innovative in that game. The biggest thing, the climbing, just like in Breath of the Wild, you can climb on any surface. You're just limited by that stamina bar, which I was a huge fan of that freedom in Breath of the Wild, so it's really nice to see that again here. I think it's really cool in the big open world.
the fact that you can climb on everything. So I haven't played Breath of the Wild, and I love the fact that you can climb on everything. It just makes it so much more. It's like a true open world. It's not like, yeah, we animated that rock up there, but like you can't get to that.
They actually had a term for it in Breath of the Wild. They called it open air because you can go anywhere. Being able to climb any cliff was great, especially as you over time improved your stamina and you could climb higher and higher. But you needed some type of reverse mechanic for that, and that's where the glider came in, where you can quickly get down from high things without having to worry about taking damage from falls and all that.
I also think the glider just looks really cool. Not the glider itself, but like if you're up on a huge cliff and you're jumping off and you could just like see the whole world sprawling out towards you, it just looks amazing. On the cooking thing, you just cook with the ingredients you find, and when you go to cook, there's like a little bar and you have to stop the little indicator in a certain area. But for each dish, there's a certain amount of times. Like if you cook, there's like the simpler dishes are lower numbers. If you cook it like 5 times, then you become proficient and you don't have to do the bar. You can just cook it instantly at that point. And then like some of the harder dishes, I saw one that was like 10. I like the idea that each character has their own level, but then you also just have, as an adventure, like your overall account has a rank. So that sort of is easier to track where exactly you are. The one thing I've been finding myself having not some issues with, but like I just keep forgetting to level up my characters because it doesn't just happen automatically. You have to actually go in and spend like experience and coins. One last thought I have on the questing is all the quests are actually interesting. Like it's not like some other games where you have these side quests that are just kind of there to fill the map and to give you stuff to do, and it's like I don't really care about this random character story. I actually enjoy all the quests in this that I've done so far. They're a little dialogue heavy sometimes, like a lot of talking in some of them. But but I don't really care though because they're interesting, they're cool. I like the characters.
The characters are waifu anime, but even if you don't like that and it's not your go-to and you don't want to be seen playing as a flying baby cartoon princess on your TV when people come into your house, even if you don't like that, the rest of the game you can really get immersed in the world. I don't like play games because they have anime aesthetics, and some people do. I just play games because they're cool, and this game, it just happens to be anime, and I was like, okay, it actually like looks pretty good.
The whole anime character aesthetic and vibe doesn't really do it for me. I hate to keep comparing it to Breath of the Wild, but the art style aesthetic of the world itself, it's very similar. You see a lot of similarities.
Each character looks really cool. They all have like their own unique style and feel to them. I think again, to go back to the combat, I love the way the combat looks. That's like a big thing for me in games. Like when you cast spells and when you're like slashing your sword around, it all looks really cool. When you're gliding, like I said, into the world, it looks amazing. And I know Manny and I say this all the time, but video games are an aesthetic art above everything else, a visual art. And
Mhm.
to have a game like it has to look cool. In this game, I mean, it's like playing it's like you're playing in a painting or something. I don't know if it has a very elaborate lore, but like it's definitely very heavy on they're not really fake words, but like on the fantasy language, like
Glue
like
Blap from Zigadop.
yeah, pretty much the Animo Archon. They just talk about this stuff like you know what it is.
Oh yeah, the
but you
Animo.
don't. Every character you talk to is entertaining. Specifically, I'm thinking of one that we saw last night. The little
Yeah,
boy
my favorite
Timmy standing
character.
outside of the town. There's that little boy Timmy.
Favorite.
They'll be back. They do come back usually, but what happens if one day they leave and never come back again? Just like
I get it.
Daddy.
So good. I couldn't believe it that the game like gets that dark. They went there. Like they actually are like putting pathos in this game, which like cool. I like it. I like that more than just like, did you hear about the tavern in this area? Which like sure some characters do that, but I prefer characters that just say things that are useless to the game, but like build the world and give you some emotion, rather than ones that just give you instruction.
The microtransactions are not they're not like an integral part of the game. So like it's not like it comes up at some point. It's like, oh, here's the path and it's gonna lead you into the micros. It's you have to go, there's just a menu you click on and you use them to buy gems, a certain kind of gem, and then you can spend those gems on wishes and you spend the wishes on different types of things and then you'll get random items. So like you can spend it on a weapon set or a character set, and if you spend like one wish, your chances are pretty low. You're probably just gonna get like an experience book or a weapon. If you spend like 10 wishes, I think it's like every 10 wishes is guaranteed to get you like a rare item. So then you're more likely to unlock the characters. You do start off with a certain amount of wishes just from downloading the game. So like I was able to spend those, and I did unlock a character. It's all random chance of what you're gonna get. Spending real money, it's a gamble. It's a hell of a drug. Like another game mechanic from a different game that I won't name, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
It never seems pay to win. It's more of you met this character in the game. You really like this character, don't you? Well, here's a microtransaction. But I feel like it's kind of dangerous because it's like very gambly, and I don't mean it's dangerous for like, you know, you're gonna spend a lot of money. I mean like it's dangerous in terms of like if you have a gambling addiction, because it's like they show you the chance of what you're gonna get certain things are, and you think, oh, I could just win it.
I feel like it's like this with um any kind of transaction in a game like this. You just have to be careful and like don't get out of control. Monitor how much you're going to spend. If you're going to be willing to spend anything on it at all, you know, set a limit. At least set a limit for the month or something. Don't just like go in and spend just every time there's something you see that you want. I think I've probably put a total of 6 hours into it. I love it. I think it is so much fun. I think it's fun to look at. The combat looks cool. It feels cool. The adventuring is fun. I think the story is cool. I love the characters. That's one of my favorite things about animes, at least the good ones, the funny ones, is that they're like self-aware of what they are, and they are self-aware that they're a little ridiculous and over the top, and that's what makes it even funnier. And I like that the game really leans into that. It makes it so enjoyable. It makes the stories fun. I can't wait to see what else they're going to add, what else this game has that we haven't seen yet. I want to keep coming back to it, and I think I will.
The combat seems fun. I think it's easy enough to pick up, but nuanced enough that over time it'll stay fresh. So I'm excited to try to keep playing with that. Try to get a grasp on it all. The world is beautiful. The graphics are great. I'm really excited to explore it and see what's out there in the different areas in the game. I know I've said it, like I think Paimon's incredibly annoying, but the rest of the characters have been okay. Like I don't really have too many complaints about the characters. Like I get that it's an anime thing.
I definitely think I want to stick with this one for a while. Part of it might be that I haven't played like a JRPG in a while, and I've been wanting to get back into them. If you've never played anything like that, this is a really good place to start, I would say, especially because it's free.
2 months ago.
Yeah, Paimon really owes you for that. Otherwise, Paimon likely would have drowned. So Paimon will do her best to be a great guide. should head off. Let's get going.
All right, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe, and we will see you next time.